Hi, everybody. Glad you're all hanging in there, still surviving COVID-19. Not sure how many weeks this has been. I've started to lose count, to be honest with you. I'm not quite like my children where I don't know the days of the week, but I'm starting to lose count of exactly how much time it's been. In this week's post, the title may not sound too promising, but I promise you it is promising. The title is Sometimes It Gets Worse Before It Gets Better. Well, yes, on some things, such as our current situation, it may feel like things are getting worse. If you watch anything on CNN, it may feel like it's getting worse. And I'm talking about big picture. But if you think about your own personal life, you may have something that's going on personally with you, and you've been praying about it. If you're like me, you start, second guessing yourself. The answer to prayer is either yes, no, or wait. But when it's wait, it can sometimes feel like the answer to prayer was no. And that's when we get antsy. We start second guessing. If you're like me, you start thinking rather than being faithful. You start wanting to handle the situation yourself. And that's not what God calls us to do. He calls us to remain faithful through all things. An example can be found in 1st and 2nd Samuel with King David. In the Old Testament book of 1st Samuel, we read about King David. In 1st Samuel, the 16th chapter, we read that Saul was rejected as king. He sent Samuel out to locate and anoint a new king. So Samuel went to Jesse. Jesse had, I don't know how many sons, but the assumption was that it would be one of the older sons. And so Jesse kept bringing son after son after son until he was out of sons. And he was like, well, surely you don't want David, the baby. We're not sure exactly how old David was at that time, but it was David. David was anointed king. He was a young man when he was anointed king. I say young man, he may have even been around age 15 or 16 years old. So if you know the story at all, you know that Saul kind of befriended him. Saul wanted him to be one of his helpers, I think a swordsman. And then there's Goliath, and David slain Goliath. And that really made Saul feel threatened. Yes, David was to be king, but Saul did not know that. Saul still thought that he was, safe as king. So this goes on for quite some time, and David is in fear of his life. He's in fear that Saul is going to kill him. If we read this in the Bible, it goes from 1 Samuel chapter 16 all the way through 31. So that's a lot of chapters, into 2 Samuel, 1st to the 5th chapters. So it took a long time for David's prayer to be answered, for him actually to become king. And in the meantime, he was not just resting and, chilling out and praying about it. He was on the run for his life. It says that he hid in pastures, in caves, in the mountains, in the desert. He asked Saul's son Jonathan, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me?" So he doesn't even understand what is going on, and it's been going on for a long time. I chose this story to help illustrate how sometimes we may feel. We may feel that we're in a situation and we don't even understand how we're at fault. We don't understand what God is doing. But God is doing some tremendous works. He's teaching us things along the way. So please take heart in that. I've been watching the news, as I do a good bit. There's a need for contact tracers. These are people who, when someone tests positive, They have to meet with a contact tracer to trace their tracks and then notify those people that they have come in contact with someone who is tested positive. So right now we have a lot of people who are losing their jobs. We have a lot of families that are in distress, but then we have new jobs on the horizon. We'll need people to do things that we did not need before. I saw where people are needed to help redesign office environments now because we can't operate the way we have always done it. So take heart. The future is bright. The saying goes, it may get worse before it gets better, but before, that's a very important preposition there, before it gets better. So the fact that the saying is before means that it will get better. There are a few scriptures that I'd like to leave you with. One is 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Another is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a hope and a future. And finally, I will leave you with Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Amen. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better, but it will get better. Hang in there. Hang in there. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.